Okay, Shelley.
Okay, welcome to our computer club meeting for Saturday, August 10th. And everybody has their coffee, donuts. We'll be covering a few things today before we get into our feature presentation. First, we'll be doing a financial report. We'll talk about our membership, computer club matters, training and classes. We'll do some community matters. And a new thing we're going to be starting today is we'll be doing at each meeting some updates and tips and give you some computer news that you can use. And finally, we'll be doing our feature presentation. Okay, we have on the screen is the treasurer's report, and we're in pretty good shape. We have unallocated available cash just under $10,000. Equipment inventory $69,900. We've made donations so far to the Grafton Food Pantry of $786. And our membership, as of the first of this month, is up to 1,514. So we're on our way back up to 2,000, hopefully. And so if you know any new people moving into Sun City or neighbors who have not joined the computer club, you can let them know about us, and we'll get that number up. Okay, I am your new president, Shelley Goldberg, and David Good is our vice president now, and Howie Huckstadt is returning as treasurer, and Molly Fritchup as secretary. And also want to give a shout out to Dave Ruby, who's not here today, but for his 2 years of as president and for his continued service. And in fact, I'd like to have all the officers who, both current and past officers of the computer club, if you could stand, and we'll recognize you and for your service to our club. And also all of the volunteers and computer monitors in the lab that we have, without whom we wouldn't have the excellent club that we do have. So if you can stand, those who are here today. A little bit off kilter there. Okay, getting into the computer club matters. Our schedule for 2019 has been changing periodically because of Jameson's access to this room and our inability to maintain getting this on the first or second Saturday of the month. So here we are on the second Saturday. The next meeting will be Saturday, September 7th, which is the first Saturday of the month. Following that, for the rest of this year, we'll try and do the second Saturday of each month. So we've got October 12th, November 9th, and December 14th. And following that, next year, starting in January, we're going to have to shift to Thursdays. We will try to maintain it as the first Thursday of each month. It's a little bit hard to read on the screen, I can see that. But we will try to maintain the first Thursday so you don't get all confused as to when the meetings are. So just remember, other than the next meeting, which is the first Saturday, it'll be the second Saturday for this year, and then the first Thursday for next year. And as always, it's coffee and donuts at 8:30 and the meeting starting at 9. Okay, and then also we made some changes on the hours. We're cutting out our Friday hours in the lab. It will be open or available for classes. But we've had a dwindling attendance of people trying to bring in computers and such on Fridays, and also a dwindling number of volunteers that we have on Fridays. So by cutting out the hours on Fridays, we'll have more people available, and you can come in on Mondays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. to noon, and Tuesday evenings, 5:30 to 8:30. And one of the big problems that we always have, people bring in their computers, and they've got a new computer, they're trying to get set up, but they forget their passwords. So always remember to bring in your passwords when you come in with new computers or anything that's going to require passwords on your computer. And finally, always check our newsletters and emails. We'll have our class schedules, announcements, and then there's also news in there about the Photo Club, our Photo Club subgroup, and also the Apple group. Okay, Ralph will talk about training and classes.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
And you probably know we haven't had any classes in July or August. Nothing came out. You know, we're working on September, October, November, the next 3 months classes. And I'll tell you what, giving the instructors the 2 months off made a big difference. Right now, I've got about 16 classes scheduled during those 3 months, and there's 4 more that are in limbo, plus a couple more talking about it. So we're going to have a pretty good schedule of classes as we go forward in the next 3 months. I'm not going to go over the classes, but I can tell you, everybody, I think, has probably got a smartphone, except maybe 2 or 3 people I know. 11 of the 16 classes so far are on smartphones, both Androids and iPhones. So most people seem to be interested in trying to do things with the phone. Not everybody knows everything about them, but we're trying to get you to know a lot. Also, watch your email. David Good and Jim Nelson are doing a terrific job of getting emails out on the weekend prior to the upcoming week of what the classes are going to be. And we'll probably start doing that, I don't know, Jim, next week or the week after. I'll get the stuff to you. But you should be getting that in an email every week, telling what's coming up and what is remaining during the month, that current month. Also, we have them on the monitors in front of the lab, and the monitor out here by Jameson's. It's going to be on our website. John Capito is going to be putting all of the training classes on the calendar. Actually, there's 2 calendars. Everybody looks at the one that says current events for the computer club. They haven't been on there. It's like a non-event. But up in the little corner it says computer calendar. They've been on there. So I said, John, let's get them coordinated so we can have them both places. So you go on our website, you can get all the classes on one of the 2 calendars. So we're looking forward to pretty decent classes as we're coming up. No, there's no charge for any of the classes for the computer club members. And we're happy to have you come, and most of them are instructional classes, but occasionally we'll have one that will be hands-on and maybe restricted to the number of computers we have in the class, like 16. So be sure and watch the description on the classes, and we're looking forward to seeing a good attendance.
Thank you, Ralph. And going on to community matters, and this meeting is open to everyone. You don't have to be a member of the computer club to come on Saturdays or soon to be Thursdays. So we want to make note of all the community matters. On Monday, actually this coming Monday, there's going to be a Veterans Benefits Fair. And that's for veterans and their spouse. So if you're a veteran, bring your spouse. You can sign up for health care, find benefits that are available to you. So, and that's this Monday. The Wood Chucks is having an open house in the wood shop, and that's going to be on Thursday, August the 15th from 10 a.m. to noon. Congresswoman Lauren Underwood is going to be having a town hall right in this room on Thursday, August 22nd from 10 a.m. to noon. So if you've got things you want to talk to your congresswoman about, that's the time and place to come. The next board meeting is Wednesday, August 28th at 9 a.m. in this room. We have an election coming up for the board. There will be a meet and greet on Tuesday, August 13th from 6 to 8 in the Fountain View Atrium. And there will also be a candidates forum on Tuesday, August 27th from 6 to 8 in this room. Okay, now I'm going to start talking about some quick tips and things that we can let you folks know. At the last meeting, we did a discussion of a few different apps. One of the apps that I just talked about was Google Trips. Well, Google always likes to shake things up, so now they're no longer supporting Google Trips. What they're doing is they're merging Google Trips into Google Maps. So everything you saw in what we talked about at the last meeting is still available. You just have to look in a different place. So how many of you actually use Google Trips? We've got a few people. How many use Google Maps? Okay, well maybe that's why they shifted it into Google Maps to get more people using it. So you will find now that when you're looking for places to explore, when you're looking to find what restaurants are available, hotels and the like, you'll be able to do it right from Google Maps. Reservations, even your past reservations, those will be incorporated into Google Maps soon. They're not there yet. But what they've also done is they now have a new website out there, and it's google.com//travel. I guess that's a little hard to read, but it's google.com//travel. And if you go on that website, that does have everything that was in Google Trips, the app, previously. And it's actually has a lot more now. So what they're doing is they're setting up their travel site, the website, as a link for everything related to travel. So if you want to make plane reservations, hotel reservations, restaurants, you can do all that right from this website. And one of the things you can do with this is you can actually, it'll let you track your airfare prices. It'll alert you when prices go up or down, and it'll say, we're forecasting that prices will be going up in the next week or so, or this is the best time to buy. So they'll tell you when to buy, to actually purchase your tickets. And here's a little tip, what they're doing between now and Labor Day. So they only have a few weeks to do this, but they're running a promotion. And they're doing an airfare price guarantee. So if you use their app and decide that, okay, this is probably the lowest price I'm going to get on an airfare, purchase your ticket, And if the price goes down, they will actually refund you the difference. So that's only till Labor Day, but it's worth doing. What they're doing actually is they are partnering with other travel sites. So when you want to do an airplane reservation, it will link you, let's say it's American Airlines, it'll link you to the American Airlines website. If it's United, it'll link you to United website. Hotel reservations, they'll link you to Marriott, Hilton, whatever it might be. Okay, next I wanted to mention a new app by Ring. Ring makes doorbells with the video cameras. How many have Ring doorbells here? Got a few people. Well, they've got an app that you don't have to have the Ring doorbell camera to use. Everybody can use this. Just it's on your phone. Just go to the Google Play Store or the on your iPhone, with the Apple's phone store, and download Neighbors by Ring, and it'll give you actually a map with a little radius around your house, show you all the areas that have where there have been crime alerts or different safety issues of any kind. So, and it's also a good social media thing. So if you see something and that looks suspicious and you want to report it, this is the place to do it. You can get right on that app and circulate that information around. And switching gears to cutting the cord, a lot of people are doing that now. Comcast, AT&T, they're losing lots of customers, and people are going to streaming. So we can talk about some of those things. How many people have actually cut the cord and no longer have their Comcast or for TV? Okay, so we've got a few people, and there's an app out there called Locast, L-O-C-A-S-T, and if you don't have an antenna on your house, you can get streaming of all the local channels, so NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, PBS. They started out in New York, and then they added Chicago and some other cities. It's done as a nonprofit, so it's free of charge. And what they're doing is they're rebroadcasting all the over-the-air broadcasts, your TV broadcasts. And they are getting, actually there's some lawsuits right now from some of the channels who want to get into doing their own streaming and earn money that way. But in actuality, you should be able to get all of your local broadcasts free of charge. It's always been that way. So I know if you have Comcast or if you have AT&T, they always add in a local broadcasting fee. But this is a way to get all of your local channels for free. AT&T Fiber, well, they've been ripping up most of Sun City, putting in AT&T Fiber. Has anyone actually gotten AT&T Fiber in their house yet? No one? I don't know if it's actually available yet. I think in the next couple of months, you'll be seeing more and more people using it. It's going to give you super fast speeds. It's the only fiber that's available right now in Sun City, or it will be available in Sun City. Google has fiber too in some cities, but not here in Chicago. But there also will be some other technologies that are going to be introduced in the next over the next year. So you're going to be seeing satellite internet. Elon Musk is launching thousands of satellites Amazon is going to be launching thousands of satellites, and they will be offering internet over from satellites in space. So what that will do is you'll now be able to have internet anywhere in the world, basically. So if you're on a cruise somewhere in the middle of the Pacific, you'll still be able to get internet. And also coming over the next year is 5G, and 5G is more than just a way to get internet on your phone. It's actually a new paradigm that's going to bring wireless internet into your home. So look forward to that over the next year. So what you want to do is you basically want to keep your options open. You know, try not to lock yourself into a 1 or 2 year contract that they try to lock you into, so that you can take advantage of all the new technologies. Okay, and with that, I will introduce Will Gerdig, who will give us our feature presentation on computer security. Will?
So what Shelley just talked about, some of these things are huge benefits. How many of you remember the Rand McNally Atlas? World Atlas, you remember you opened them up? For years and years and years, that's how I planned my vacations. You open the atlas, you figure out how far it is from point A to point B. Today I want to go 500 miles. You get the measurement thing out, and you figure out where 500 miles is. And then you say, okay, you go to the hotel books. Remember those books we used to pick up? You'd open them up and see who's got a hotel in that area. It would be a huge planning effort, but that's all we had. Google Trips basically took that away. It gives us, you get the Google map and you say, this is where I want to go. And then you click on it and it showed all of the hotels in the area. Now, the one thing Google Maps doesn't do is it doesn't refer you over to hotels.com, which is what I use to book all my hotels. Why? Because every 10 I get a free one. So, I'm trying to save a buck. But it gives you the idea as to what's there. So I'm really happy to see that they're incorporating into Google Maps because that's my go-to thing. Regarding Locast, I've been using Locast for a while. I'm a big proponent on cutting the cord. And I've taught several of the workshops here. Locast may be going away. And I just want to let you know, they're a not-for-profit. They have found a loophole in the FCC regulations that allows them to rebroadcast this. Comcast, who represents NBC, Disney, who represents ABC, and CBS have all filed suit against them. This may be a situation where Goliath tramples David. So right now it's available, works great. Works for several major cities and one place out in Iowa, which I'm not sure how that is considered a major city, but it works for major cities. It works for Washington, LA, I think there's like a dozen. Chicago happens to be one. And you get all the local channels through an app on your streaming media box. So it works great, works great. You got a question?
Yes, well, when you say rebroadcast, is it rebroadcasted at the same time?
Yes, it's simulcast. Simulcast. It's absolutely live, and that's really where the loophole is the big three say you're rebroadcasting our signal, and that's according to what the rules say, that's illegal. So stay tuned on that one. So anyway, let me get to where we're going. Today's title from the board says computer security. It's really security for systems and people, because what we're talking about here is basically how to prevent yourself from being scammed. We'll figure out which one of these. Arrow right, got it. Thank you. So that's what we're going to be talking about. I did this at one of these club workshops one evening, and we were standing room only. It is a hot topic. So a lot the officers decided that maybe we should bring it to the masses and say, this is important. Here's why. You're being scammed. You all are being scammed. Whether you know it or not, you're being watched. And it's important that, number one, you know how to stop it, and number two, how to keep it from starting up again. So this is kind of what we're going to talk about today. I've got my own little cheat sheet here so I can look professional and try to turn these through. Okay, so we're going to talk about several things about what's a scam. Most people have heard about them. When and where do these things happen? We'll talk about the three major categories of scams that are running out there. We'll talk a little bit about some prevention, how to prevent from getting these things and what you do if you do get them. And then we'll do a quick summary and a closing, okay? So, why does this happen? Well, it's the old get rich quick situation. Scamming has been around for years. They've called it all kinds of different things. Back in the days of Joe Friday and Dragnet, they called it bunco. I don't know why they call it bunco, but it's the same thing. It's the act of misrepresenting yourself in order to gain some sort of either monetary or property value, okay? So that means, as a scammer, I would do some sort of a con and try to take something from someone. Remember, what was the movie with Paul Newman? The Big Sting stuff, wasn't that? Is that what it's called? Some of you are shaking your head. That was a whole movie about a scam. They've been around forever. So it's changed over the years, though. These guys have gotten really, really good at what they do. It used to be really easy to pick these things out. There were lots of issues with them, but they've gotten really good. As technology moves forward, so have they. And in some cases, you can't even tell that these things are scams. So I'm going to show you some ways that you might be able to help yourself. Why does this happen? Because they prey on our lack of knowledge. We as people generally are very trusting. We want to accept people for face value as they are. We want to allow people to help us. Someone calls you and says, oh, you got a leak in your bathroom, I'm here to fix it. And then you go to your bathroom and it's not leaking, you know there's a problem. That's an obvious situation. But if someone calls you and says, I just hit your mailbox, I want to fix it. You look up, you see your mailbox is knocked over. You say, sure, let's arrange to get it fixed. You see where I'm going? It's hard for us in many cases to verify today when we have problems related to finances or when we have issues with credit cards or when we have issues even with potentially our home titles. Okay, so where does this happen? Any place, honestly, any place. With today's internet being, your capability of being mobile, it can happen anywhere. It can happen at your home, on your PC, on your phone, on your cell phone, using the internet on your cell phone, using your tablet. It's not limited anymore to just email. Used to be, you get an email and you can figure out, okay, this is a scam. Not anymore. You all know about the calls you're getting, the robocalls and all the rest of them. You've heard about them. You've probably received them. Remember those irritating phone calls you always get at 6 o'clock when you're having dinner? And these guys have taken that and multiplied it exponentially. They even come to you via FedEx envelopes, priority mail, or priority delivery. One of the biggest areas they target are executives of corporations. And they send them a FedEx overnight envelope. And the exec opens it up and reads it and says, oh, okay, I need to do this. And they don't realize that they're being scammed. You think if you get an envelope from FedEx that this is legit, right? You think that, oh, the guy has paid at least $15 a piece. That's true. But if the turnaround is $100,000, $15 is well worth the investment. So I'm going to share some of the most common computer issues and talk a little bit about what they do. The first one is the old-fashioned Nigerian prince scam. You're all laughing. You've heard of this one before. This is a situation where a Nigerian prince sends you an email and he promises that he's going to, for a fee of $100, he's going to promise that you will get some sort of return, 10 to 1 or 100 to 1, as soon as his whatever clears this treasury. Yeah, right. Okay? You all know through just discussion that that is a scam. They're fishing for $100 for you to get this information. They've gotten a lot better, a lot better. You used to be able to tell in an email if something was a scam because the company's logo didn't look quite right. Maybe it was a little fuzzy, or you would find a misspelling in the text. It doesn't happen anymore. It does not happen anymore. You get an email from your bank that says, click here to read our notice or verify or whatever. You click that button, do you really know what's going to your bank? I'm going to show you a way that you can. But I'm going to tell you, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. I promise I will never click on a link in an email
Click on the link in the
unless
email.
I positively know where it's going.
Positively know where it's going.
Only you can make that determination. Links don't auto launch. This is important, okay? I'm trying to help you get out of trouble. And in my line of work here, helping people at Sun City fixing computers, I get at least one a week that calls me bawling that I can't get into my computer, or they're asking me for money. I empathize with you completely. But once the damage is done, it's really hard to undo it. And it's going to cost you. I mean, bottom line is it is going to cost you. So, emails that misrepresent requests for financial aid or legal or medical equipment these are called phishing. They're phishing for personal information. They're not so much looking for you to click the button to give them $100 or to contact them about something. They're looking to get access to your computer to find out information about you, to steal your identity. Can I see by I know this can be embarrassing, but can I see by a show of hands anybody who thinks that their identity may have been stolen or had a credit card hacked? Hands?
Well, I think we all have, right, with the data breach, with the,
Most recent? You don't know if if you've been hacked, all you know is the information has been released, okay? The thing is what the hacker's gonna do. He's talking about the most recent Citibank announcement that Citibank had their computers hacked. You know, you don't know. All Citibank has really told us is that this group of credit card numbers and people that have applied for credit within a certain time range, their information was stolen. Their personal information was stolen. Now, does that mean that the hackers are going to use it? We don't know that. We know that the possibility exists. So Citibank is saying, well, all we can really do is offer you protection for a year for free. Oh boy, like that's really gonna help me? You know, I'm a pessimist. When it comes to my personal information, they're not gonna do anything that's gonna be able to help me. The only one that can help me is me, for sure. So, here's another category that's been around for quite a while. These are emails that you get from a person you know. You may have all seen these before. It'll come and it'll say something like important information, and it comes from John Smith, who you've known John for 20 years. Okay? And when you open the email, there's a link there that says, click on this for important information, or something to that effect. And so because you know John, and John would never do this intentionally to hurt you, you click on the link. Well, you open the door. You don't know what happens after that point. But I can assure you that the result is never good. Because John didn't send that email. It may have come from John's account, but John got hacked. Somebody went into his computer and got into his address book and sent this email to everyone that's in John's address book. Now, what's going to happen? I don't know. It could be, it used to be porn sites. You used to click on the link and it would take you to a porn site and, okay, no big deal. But now, when you click on a link, there's all kinds of things that can happen when you get to that website or that link. It can put spyware on your system that watches what you do. It can put viruses in your system that could potentially take your system down. The biggest thing is it could watch your identity. It could put in something called a keylogger, which monitors all of your keystrokes and then sends it to someplace else. Now think about that. If something captures all of your keystrokes, they're getting not only your clicks, but your passwords because you're typing them in. Kind of frightening, isn't it? Again, I promise I will never click on a link that comes in an email. All right? I'm serious about this. So how do you get around this? Well, number one, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You've heard that many, many, many years before. For the Nigerian print scams, it's pretty obvious. You're not going to get a 100-to-1 return by sending somebody $100. Okay? You really can't click on any link or any button that comes to you in an email unless you know where it's going. Now, how do you know where it's going? I'll show you. Next slide. Don't presume that just because the sender's name is someone you know that it's safe to click on that link. If you happen to get an email like that, be a really good friend and call the person and say, I got an email from you that has a link in it. Did you send it? And the friend will probably say, I've been getting calls like this all day. I have no idea how to stop that. Damage is done already. But all the person can really do, and what they usually do, is send out an email, another email to their contact list and say, I've been hacked. Please disregard any emails that have links in them for me. But the damage is done already. All the user can do is really change his email password or stop using that email address. But the scammer has got it. He can sell it to other people that will bombard him again with continual ads. It's a vicious cycle. The last thing is never open an attachment until you verify it did indeed come from someone you know. Attachments written in Office, like Microsoft Word or OpenOffice or OpenOffice Writer, LibreOffice Writer, spreadsheet tools, all of those have a tool inside of them called a macro. A macro is something that can run automatically when that file is opened. It's generally a good thing for a macro because it does some sort of repetitive task on command. I use macros all the time in business. I don't ever do a thing twice. If I have to do it twice, I write a macro for it and have the macro do the task for me. Just saves me a lot of time that way. But if you get an email that has an attachment in it, and you open that attachment, and the macro is set to self-start, whatever is in that macro will be on your system. And you can easily embed viruses, adwares, spyware, all of the nasties in one of those things. Sometimes you don't even know you've got it until months later. Have I put the fear of God in you yet? Yeah, it's a nasty world out there. It really is. So let me show you. This is going to be a little hard to see. Actually, it's going to be very hard to see. Do we have? I don't. All right. Okay, so you can see in this, I'm going to talk loud. You can see in this illustration that I have got a link up there, right? Okay. It's come to me, actually from me. I wanted to show this as an example, but let's just say it came from somebody else. How do I know that that link is really taking me to where it says it's taking me to? Not necessarily to a site that I know, but is it going to the place that I would expect it to go? Now, if you notice, it says that it's going to sked.com. It's kind of hard to see the forward slashes. By the way, a forward slash is one that does that. It faces forward. So if you think about bowing, a forward slash does that. It goes like this, or in your case, like this. Okay? The backslash is something you use for directory separation, and you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, so if I take my mouse and I hover it, don't click on it, but I just take my mouse and hover over that link, on the lower part of the browser, you barely see it, is something called the status bar. In the status bar here, you can say, see barely, that it's taking me to https://static.sked.com. Is that where it says? Yeah. That just tells me that the link verifies that it's going to go to where it says it's going to go. Now, let me give you an example of where this would be bad. I get in a text to click here, and the text comes from Chase, chase.com, okay? So I hover over the word here, because here is the word link, and I look down on the bottom, and it says www.chase.com. Now, is that going to my bank? Tiny little change.
Need a microphone.
It would be nice. But it's a tiny little change that would indicate that Chase.com is not the place that I wanted to go to. My bank is called Chase.com. Or maybe it's CHOSE.com. Tiny little change. It used to be really obvious, where if you hovered over that link, or you hovered over that button, it would say adblaster.com. That's an obvious notification that there's something not right. Yesterday, I get a phone call from a client. Okay, good friends, client, she's in her upper 70s, he's in his lower 80s, okay? Calls me and said, I got a message about a Norton add-on. Okay, that immediately piqued my curiosity because they have Norton Internet Suite, they pay for it, and Norton would give them all of their upgrades. It's got all the additional Norton tools. She said, I got this advertising for an add-on to remove ads. Okay, I'm thinking, well, number one, that doesn't work because ads pay for the internet. You can't remove them, all you can do is kind of block them. But as far as I know, Norton doesn't have any tools that does that come with Norton. Never impossible. Maybe they heard about something because they pay for it. Maybe something's come out. So I said, okay, what happens when you hover over that link? She said, well, I've already clicked on it, and I got information about what it costs. Okay, so I'm thinking damage control here. She said, I got the information about what it costs. and it's $40 a month. $40 a month with a credit card. Should I do this? Okay. I said, well, no, wait. No, wait. Let's first find out if this indeed came from Norton. Okay. So go back to the original email, find it, and go put your mouse and hover over that link and tell me what it says at the bottom of your browser. And instead of going to something.norton.com/whatever, it's going to something.addefender.org, whatever. Now, she said, did I do something bad? I said, I don't know. I really don't know. Because for all I know, this could be a legitimate company that bought their email list from Norton. It could be legit. I don't want to cast aspersion on add-whatever-it-is.org. Okay? But I can tell you that by clicking on that link, she has given them confirmation of her email address. And these people now have her email address and know that it's valid forever. Now, if it's a scammer, he can now pass that email address over to all of his buddies or continually use it because, let's be honest, we don't change email addresses often. How many of you had your email address more than 5 years? Yeah. Okay. I've had my Gmail address for almost 15. I don't change my address. I change my password frequently, but I don't change my address. If I get tipped into one of those rings of scammers that get my email address, I'm going to be really irritated, number one, at myself, and number two, at the inconvenience it's going to cause me, because I'm going to have to tell all of you that I've got a new email address. And you know how much fun that is. Ken?
One thing about hovering over it, sometimes they'll do like chase.mybank.com.
Yep.
That you have to be careful that it's not something like that.
You have to expect it to go to exactly where you expect it to go. If you get something from Chase, it will be something.chase.com, period, or slash, or whatever. But it has to use exactly that bank URL. If, as Ken said, if it says chase.mybank.com, that's not Chase. When in doubt, call your bank. Call them on the phone. Call the people that you get this email from and say, is this legit? Now, if you find out that it's not legit, or you suspect that it's not legit, you can always take that email and forward it over to the bank or the organization that it came from. You forward it to abuse.whatever.com. So in my case, I would say, this, in my friend's case, she would forward it to abuse.norton.com. The abuse thing, I'm sorry, she would forward it to abuse@norton.com. It's an email. Forward that email to abuse@norton.com. That'll go to Norton Security Center. And Norton may take a day or so. They probably will do an auto response saying, thank you, we've received your submission. We'll get back with you in a day or two and let you know what's going on. All of the major organizations use abuse@domain name to help you. If you've clicked on it, well, you might want to call them anyway and say, this is what I did and now what did I do? Okay.
The other thing that they do is they use Bitly to hide the link.
What's that?
A lot of them use Bitly to hide the link.
Yeah, just, and bit.ly is a way of condensing a URL to something smaller. It comes down to the same thing. If you don't know where it's going, don't click on it. Okay? Looking for my pages. I may have to cheat and do it the old-fashioned way. All right. Phones. These are phone calls that we receive. You've all heard of them. The caller misrepresents themselves as being something else. For a while back, it was Hi, I'm from Microsoft Technical Support, and I'm here because we've noticed that you have a virus on your system. We've gotten reports that you have a virus on your system. Could you please grant me access to your system so I can take care of the issue? Well, the other one, this is a good one. Hi, I'm from the IRS. Or some other official. Hi, I'm from Chase Credit. I'm calling about a recent purchase made on your credit card. That one's kind of a toss-up. Is that good or is that bad? Talk about that in a minute. This basically whole thing incites some sort of fear on our side that something has gone wrong and we don't know what to do to fix it. You ever have that problem? I'm a computer specialist, okay? There are many people in the room that have the same skill level that I do. I'm just far more aware than other people are because that's my business. During the day, I'm a risk manager, an IT risk manager. My job is to run the team that looks for these things that attack the company that I'm currently working for. So, I'm gonna hope this works. Can you click on the thing? I want you to listen to this.
No, new message. Account has been reached. If anything in the app would like, please contact Apple Support Advisor. Press 1 to connect with Apple Support Advisor. Press 2 to listen to this message again. Or if you wish to contact us later, please call us on our toll-free number 718-307-1139. Thank you.
Okay, this is what's solicited currently. I got 5 of these in one day. Okay, number 1, it's a robocall. Scammers can send these out by the thousands at almost no cost. Number 2, it came from someplace in West Virginia. Apple's in Cupertino, California. Number 3, it's a poor quality robocall. Number 4, it said, call us on our toll-free number, 718. That's not a toll-free number. It's trying to frighten me that my Apple ID has been hacked. Now, if you don't know any better, you're gonna answer that call. You're gonna press that 1, and you're gonna listen to them. And they're gonna probably ask you for your Apple ID and your current password so they can verify it against their records. Sounds legit, doesn't it? Biz, wrong answer. It's not. It's not. It's trying to frighten you into doing something you wouldn't normally do. Oh. So how do we stop doing this? Oh, this is the next category. You get a phone call from a person, or you get a phone, generally it's a person saying, I'm relaying a message to you from your grandson. Your grandson is currently abroad in England and ran into some problems. He's in jail. And he needs bail money. He needs to get out of jail. And you know that your grandson is in England. That's exactly where he is. So you're thinking, oh crap, what can I do to help him? Well, you're already hooked. You're already hooked. Now, where did they get that information from? Well, your grandson posted his pictures that he's in Manchester, England. He's told the world that he is not at home. Number 1, that's a bad idea, but kids that age post everything about everything. There's no filter anymore. Okay? No. you can't reach your grandson because maybe for some reason the phone is died, you call your son or your daughter and say, what's the story with Bobby? I heard he's in trouble. I got the same phone call. Well, what are you doing about it? I gave them my credit card number. They needed $500. I gave them the number. And to make this even more legit, you would take a look at your credit card, you call your, or look it up on the web, and there's a $500 debit. It sounds legit. Until about a week later, when you start getting all these $1,000 plus charges. Because they've got your credit card. These scams, not only do you get them via phone calls, they also show up in your Facebook profile, in your homepage, or your LinkedIn profile. They sound legit, but they're not. So, how do you stop? If someone, first off, calls you about a friend or family member or to provide some sort of computer assistance and you did not initiate the request, just hang up. Okay? Just hang up. Never, ever, ever give personal information to anyone on a phone call. Now, it's usually better, if it's legit, to get the company's name and badge number or personnel number or something like that, or get their extension. Not their phone number, their extension. Hang up and say, I'll call you back. And then you go to a document you have from the company, use the phone number on that document, and call the company and say, I just got a phone call from John Smith on extension da 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 da. Do you have a person by that name? Oh yeah? Can you please forward me to that number? Most of the time, what you'll get is, I'm sorry, I can't release that kind of information. Now, this results in a stalemate. You come back and you say, I'm not going to give you my PIN number for my whatever. Well, we can't continue to process your health claim until we can verify that this is you. Great, I'm not giving you that information. We just have to agree that you're not going to get it from me, not in this phone call. Well, you can call us back. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. You're some company that may have been hired by United Healthcare. That's what happened to me. I had United Healthcare at the time. They subcontracted the claim workings out to another company. Now, the name was familiar to me. The name of the company was called Optum. I'm familiar with Optum because I get my drugs from them. But I get my drugs from Optum Rx. I absolutely did not. They eventually sent me a letter with a phone number that I could verify through United Healthcare that this is the person. And all they really wanted to know is if the claim I had was a workman's comp case. But I wasn't going to tell them that information. If they need that information, they'll come and find another way to reach me. And generally it's through the mail. Slower, but it does work. Here's why I say go to a document. Don't trust an internet search of the company. Your system already may be compromised to return a false number. If for some reason you clicked on this and you do a Google search, you ever notice at the top of the Google search, it sometimes says things that are sponsored? Those are companies that pay a premium to show up on the top of those lists, all right? Well, they can be hacked too. I mean, those searching capabilities can be installed in your computer where when you use Google or Yahoo or any other search engine, it shows up as one of the top things. Find something that's legit. Go to the company's website and get a phone number. Don't trust it being returned to you from a search engine. And above all, stop your robocalls. Okay? Yes, you can stop them, or at least reduce them greatly. There is a company, a couple of years ago, the FCC realized that this was a huge problem and also realized that they couldn't fix it. So they opened a contest to the general public, and they said, we need a way to stop robocalls. The person that gives us the best solution will get $50,000. And they ran this for a couple of months, and people submitted their entries, and it came down to 2 of them. Both of them were excellent suggestions. They paid out the $50,000 to both of them. But they promote one called NoMoRobo, NoMoRobo.com. If you have a landline, all you need to do is to go to that website and register your phone number, give them your email address. They'll send you instructions how to set up your landline to stop robocalls. Now, stop is really kind of a misnomer. I've got it on both of my landlines at home. It rings once and stops. I get a lot of these one-ring calls. What happens is when you set this up through Comcast or Verizon or AT&T, any of the landline companies, you actually have the phone ring not only at your home, but at the phone number of this NoMoRobo organization. It's called multiple call ring. What happens is when it rings at their end, at the NoMoRobo end, they look up the phone number that it's coming from in a database. And if they find it in their database, they kill the call. So that's why it rings once. Now, if you're getting robocalls in your cell phone, the first place I would suggest you go is to your carrier. Contact your carrier and say, what do you have that helps me filter out robocalls? I have an app from Verizon that kind of works. I also subscribe to NoMoRobo for my cell phones. Now, it works a little differently for cell phones, and there's a cost. For landlines, it's free. For cell phones, NoMoRobo costs me $20 a year. It doesn't stop the call after one ring, but it does flag up a message when I get a call that it says robocall. So I just kill it. Now, I get so many calls from phone numbers that I don't recognize. I'm to the point right now where I don't answer them. I hate to say this, but unless that person's in my contact list, I don't answer them. I let them go to voicemail. I'm apologizing right now to you that it's going to voicemail, but that's the only way that I can protect myself. Please, if you're calling me, leave a message. I will get back to you, but that's the only way I have of filtering out calls that are coming from potential scammers. So keep that in mind. You may want to just stop answering the phone unless it's coming from someone you know, someone you have in your contact list. Getting pop-up messages is kind of obsolete, but it still happens a little bit. More than likely, you're going to get a message on your browser that says you're infected. Okay? And it's a pretty big message. This is because you did something that you shouldn't have done. You either visited a website that gave you some sort of automatic download, or you clicked on an ad that was programmed to download something on your system. You could even click on a picture and download something called a web bug. That doesn't happen too much anymore, but they're still out there. Sometimes it only happens when you use Chrome and not Internet Explorer or Firefox. Sometimes it only happens when you use Internet Explorer and not Chrome. If you get a message of this type, don't panic, but know that you probably have been hacked. So Google in this case is not your friend, okay? Sometimes, because your system may have been infected, it may be directing you to known scamming sites under the pretext of being a good site. If you get those kinds of messages, treat every app you download as a potential bringer of malware. Now, I can't tell you how many times I go to clients' houses and they have all kinds of crap on their systems that they have brought into their systems with good intention. Most common is the one called maps.galaxy.com. That's run by a company called Mindspring. Mindspring is a company that sells your information to other companies. When you use that map tool, it knows where you were searching. It provides that information to people that are willing to buy it. Mindspring will never show up on your list of programs, but maps.galaxy.com will. So I'm going to tell you, don't click on Google and search for a map tool. Use one you know that works. Earlier, lots and lots of hands went up saying, I use Google Maps. How do you get to Google Maps? Do you go to google.com/maps? Or do you go to maps.google.com? Those are valid ways to get there. Just don't go to the search bar and click in Google Maps. Because not only are you going to get the result through Google Maps, but you're going to get a lot of other things too that you have no idea if they're really, really fraudulent. Now, they may give you a map. I'm not saying that doesn't work, but they may give you something else too. Don't ever, ever, ever click on an ad. I don't care where it says it comes from. Don't click on it. Don't do it. Do I have to do the right-hand thing again? Don't do it. Number one, what it does is it tells the ad provider that you're interested in the product and you're going to get lambasted with more ads. Okay? Number two, even if it is legit, you can get the same information from the company's website. So if you click on an ad for Ford, you're going to start getting a ton of ads about stuff. It would say it's a Ford truck. I'm going to get information about Chevy trucks, about Toyota trucks, about all kinds of other stuff. I don't want that. If I'm interested in a Ford truck, where do I go? Ford.com. Okay? You know you're legit then. Don't be tempted. They're pretty, they're flashy, they're glitzy. Don't click on the shiny button. Now, we can help you. You have to make sure that you have active antivirus protection and a working firewall. Those are the basic tools to protect your systems. If you use Norton, McAfee, Defender, or other name branded protection suites, these tools automatically will protect your system with antivirus and firewalls. If you purchase these things, you need to make sure that your subscription is still current. There are a lot of people that let their subscriptions lapse and aren't aware of it. Most of the biggies are really good now. When you sign up, they ask you for your credit card and they automatically renew it every year. Or they at least send you an email saying your Norton subscription is about to renew. But that's not always the case. Maybe you said initially, I don't want to do auto renew. Now, they may send you an email. If it's good business practice, they may send you an email. We notice your Norton subscription is expiring in 30 days. Click here to renew it. Do you want to do that? No. Go to norton.com, log into norton.com. You've already got a login sign in, and go renew it there. Or call Norton and say, my subscription is expiring. I need to renew it. They'll be happy to take your money. Now, those of you running Windows 10, and almost everybody should be by now, can go to the Windows Security section in the settings. There's a section there called Windows Security. If you go to the Start button, you go to Tools, you go in all the fancy stuff, there's a thing on the bottom that basically says Security and Upgrades. In there is a section called Windows Security. It will tell you that you currently have an antivirus and firewall in effect. It will not tell you if the subscription is expiring. It'll just give you current status. Now, an active firewall only protects one leg of a three-legged stool. You have to consider that malware protection is really three parts. If you got the stool and you got one leg, what's going to happen to the stool? It's going to fall over. So we've got to somehow put the other two legs in place. There is a couple of tools that are out there that work very well to supplement those two legs. Those two legs are adware and spyware. Adware is stuff that intentionally will go after your system and infect your ads. That's also the one that will occasionally give you pop-ups. Okay? Spyware is stuff that gets installed and watches. Always watches. Always collecting information. And every now and then it'll call home and provide that information to the owner of the software. Not a good thing. To stop those two tools, those two parts of malware, there are two tools. One of them I've used for years. I subscribe to. I'm even a dealer for it. It's called Malwarebytes. It's from malwarebytes.org. If you come to the club, that's the first thing we'll put on your system if you're complaining about things that are not working right. It's a very effective tool to eliminate most of adware and spyware. And it will also flag things that are questionable, like anything from Mindspring. It flags it as either a PUP or a PUM. PUPs or pumps. PUPs is a potentially unwanted program, potentially unwanted malware. Okay? They can't call them viruses or adware or spyware because they're going to get sued. But they flag it and say, you don't really want this on your system. We'll take it off for you. The other one is super anti-spyware. Sounds like it's a piece of garbage, but it really works quite well. Not quite as good as Malwarebytes, but I run them both. Because it doesn't hurt to have either of these programs or both of them running with your current antivirus program. Most of the time you cannot mix antivirus programs. These are supplements, and they work very well. Malwarebytes and Super Anti-Spyware are both available as free and paid versions. The only difference between the free and the paid version is the ability to schedule to run automatically. Now, if you could put on your calendar every week that you're going to run this program on Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning, you don't need to pay for it. But you do have to remember to do it. If you're like me, I can't remember what I'm supposed to do tomorrow. So I paid the $40 a year and let them handle it. And not only do they do updates automatically, they protect my system. And it even does it to a point where I'm done with it and don't have to mess with it. So your mileage may vary. Decide which one works best for you, but please put at least one of these tools on your system and run it. The other thing you can do is use what's called a search filtering tool. That means when you search for something on the internet, you know, or you have a really good idea that the sites that you get back as a result of that search are valid. Okay? Now, how many of you have Comcast and use the Comcast Norton tool? If you don't, shame on you. It's free. It comes with your subscription and is the full-blown Norton antivirus suite. Norton Security Suite, Norton Internet Security Suite, we get the whole name. The only thing that's different about it, it's got this big logo on it that says Xfinity. And it's free, it comes as part of your Comcast Internet subscription. So if you're using anything else other than that, wait till your paid subscription is over and go to Comcast. We can help you at the club to do that. Ken's got this big smile on his face, he knows. Norton is currently the top-rated antivirus product, has been for the last couple of years. Every now and then something else comes closer, but if it's free, why not take advantage of that? If you're paying for Norton and you're a Comcast customer, let your current Norton subscription expire, come on into the club, know your Comcast internet email address and the password, and we'll help you install it. It's a simple thing. Norton includes in their subscription something they call Norton Safe Search. Now, I'm sorry, Norton Safe Web. Norton Safe Web is a new tool for them, combining two older tools, one called Norton Search and something else. These are add-ons to your browser. I use Chrome for almost all of my stuff. And one day, this popped open saying, so-and-so is Norton Safe Web is now available for Chrome. So I went, before I said yes, install it, I went to Norton's website and I said, what is this? And they told me all about it. So I was fine with it, so I went back to the browser and I said, install. And what I got was this really cool tool that ranks using stoplights, red, green, yellow, the websites I'm going to when I search. So if I do a search, at that top line with each one of those search items, I have either a red, a green, or a yellow little stoplight. The green tells me that Norton says that this is a safe site to go to. They've compared it to their database of known malicious sites, and it's good. Yellow means we're not sure. We haven't either inspected it, or we've gotten no feedback. Use at your own risk. Red means stay away. Red means bad. Red means go there and pay the price. If it doesn't say green, I don't go there. I absolutely do not go there. There's also another tool floating around out there called Web of Trust. Web of Trust is what we call a crowdsourced information tool, which means people like you and I rate the site as to whether or not it's valid or not. Now, how many of you use Amazon reviews when you're buying a product? You read all those comments, you know those can be slanted one way or the other. Do you know that some of these manufacturers do pay people to falsify these entries? Or put in tons of entries that will slant it one way or the other? That's crowdsourcing. Amazon does their best to stop it, but it still happens. Okay? If you're listed as being the person that purchased a product, you can review that product. So, crowdsourcing, Web of Trust, you have to take with a grain of salt. If you use Web of Trust and 99% of the people said that yes, this is a valid site, yeah, probably is okay. Anything else? But look at the numbers. If it's 50% of the people saying that it's a good site, what do? Stay away. Stay away. Just like a product you would see at Amazon. If you get 50% of the people that don't have anything good to say about the product, what do? Stay away from it. McAfee also has a free website tool that uses their own database. The tool itself works pretty well. It's called Site Advisor. The problem with that is that will also download a whole bunch of McAfee other things, like McAfee Security Scan, which is primarily designed to frighten the hell out of you to install McAfee products. I don't like that kind of marketing. While the tool works great, I would not recommend the use of it. Now that means that you gotta go out and purchase more, or trust yourself to Web of Trust. Both of those are better options than getting slammed from McAfee about things that you don't want. Okay? Ransomware. This is an infection, I spoke to you before about this. This will lock your computer and demand that you give them payment. There is no way to get out of ransomware. You're in a no-win situation. You do not want to give in to the people and pay them. They're going to ask you for a credit card or ask you to send American Express gift checks or gift cards or any kind of transferable monetary cash kind of a thing. You have to trust that they will give you the key to unlock that computer, and you don't know if what caused it to trigger it in the first place is gone. That puts an awful lot of trust in somebody you know that's nefarious to start with. Just kiss it goodbye. If that happens to you, you're sunk. The only way to get out of that for sure is to completely reload your computer. Bring it into the cloud, we'll reload it with the current operating system. Problem with that is when we reload it, we're going to destroy your data. Because we're going to completely destroy everything. This puts a huge responsibility on you to make sure you do backups. Now, I've spoken to you before many times about the reliability and responsibility to do backups. I'm not going to harp on that, but it is your responsibility to make sure you do have some sort of a backup plan. Either put it on a thumb drive, sign up for a cloud service, whatever you do, you need to protect your information because your information is probably priceless. Now, if you don't use your computer for anything other than something being web-based, okay, so it's not a big deal because there's nothing really stored on your computer anyway. But most of us have got pictures and music and documents and tax returns and all that kind of stuff stored on our systems. That's important. That's priceless in some cases. I have pictures of my kids' weddings on there. Has no value to you, but to me, means everything in the world. Just don't go there. This comes to you generally by clicking a link. It's what we call a Trojan horse. At some point in the future, that horse will release and lock your system down. And I mean lock it. You boot it up, and you're going to get the screen that says, and a lot of times it'll be an official looking logo like the FBI. Your system has been locked for security reasons. Please contact us at this number. Period. No matter how many times you try to reboot this thing, that screen comes up. You're sunk. Now, you can see there's only so much that we can do to our computers to protect ourselves. But where's the weak point in this whole discussion? Take your finger, point it around, and do that. Where's the weak point? It's us. We're the one that allows this to happen to ourselves. We need to take responsibility to not get scammed. We need to raise our bar to be a lot more cautious in everything related to our personal lives and our financial proprietary information. We need to not post on Facebook until we get home. We need to encourage our family not to do that. If I check in with Facebook saying that I'm at a restaurant, what does that tell the rest of the world that's on my Facebook page? I'm not home. Well, great, I have an alarm. How quick is it gonna take the Huntley police to respond after my alarm company responds? 5, 10 minutes? I mean, think about this. The alarm goes off. I get a call from my alarm company generally within seconds. I said, this is valid, this is legitimate. They call the Huntley police. They will get a car out there as soon as they can. As soon as they can. This is not considered an emergency. Now, thank heavens, our community has enough police to be able to respond almost immediately to situations like this. But if they're all tied up doing something, they'll get there when they can. In Chicago, forget it. Seriously, forget it. Because they'll show up the next day. I'm being honest. I talked to a person who lives there. I said, why do you have cameras on your alarm? He said, to capture the information to give to the police the next day when they show up. I swear. Now, someone earlier talked about Ring. I have a Ring camera. Let me tell you a story. A couple of weeks ago, I knew we were going to be out of town for an extended amount of time, and back and forth. So I went out and bought a Ring doorbell from Amazon. It's reconditioned, so I spent less for it. Okay, figured if it doesn't work, I'll send it back, right? It's got a 90-day warranty. If it's going to break, it's going to break within the first 90 days. When I put it in, it worked perfectly. Okay, I attached it to my doorbell so I don't have to put batteries in it. Very sensitive, very tricky to kind of get the thing to pick up motion, but it does a great job. If somebody pushes the doorbell, it not only rings the doorbell, Alexa tells me that someone's at my door, and it sets an alert up on my phone. Great. So we're out of town. A couple of days into this, I get a call from American Express. Now I know it's American Express because I've loaded American Express, their customer service number, in my phone as a contact. Comes up, says American Express. Hi, American Express, what's up? We've noticed some unusual charges on your credit card. Really? Did you make a $600 purchase at Walmart the other day? Walmart.com? No, not me. Okay, we suspect that your card may have been hijacked. Great. They were outstanding. They took care of all the information right there on the spot. Not a problem. A couple of days later, I get a motion alert from Ring telling me that someone's at my front door. There's a package on my door. That's odd. I knew I didn't order anything. Okay, so I didn't think too much about it. I'll be home in a couple of days. Somebody, I'll pick it up. The day after that, I get that Ring notification, and by the way, that was a stupid thing to do. I should have not left that package sit on my doorstep. I should have had a neighbor go over and get it. But we all learn and live. See how easy you get sucked in? A couple of days later, I get a Ring notification that a car is pulled up in my driveway. Now that in itself is kind of unusual, but in the car is a black woman, and she sits there for a few minutes, gets out of the car, walks up the sidewalk to the point where she can see my door, but doesn't come all the way the distance to the door. Turns around, gets back in the car, and drives off. How odd. So I put 2 and 2 together. That package was the package that she ordered from Walmart and was coming to get it. What prevented her from doing that? My Ring doorbell. I took that video that Ring captured. I paid $3 a month for video capture, sent it to the Huntley police. A week later, I get a notification in the car. Now that's unusual, but my video helped do that. And it also protected me. She was smart enough to look out to see if there was a Ring doorbell. Seeing it, she took off. Real life, true story. Okay, so bottom line, don't take those calls. Hang up. Don't click on things we can't verify. And don't react to potentially fraudulent emails, etc. The etc. is the big part of that.
So what was in the package?
It's actually a reconditioned iPhone 8. Ignore solicitors. Just, you don't like people coming to your door and hawking stuff. I had a guy come to the door the other day and say, I've got a permit, we've been approved, I don't care, go away, I'll let the dog out. That worked quick. That worked really quick. I just told you the story about the ring thing, all right? Please, please, please do what you can to protect yourself. The $100 that I spent for that ring camera paid for itself automatically. It's a little difficult to set up in terms of sensitivity. Once I got it set, works fine. I have an American flag in the front of my house. Every time the wind blew it, it set off an alarm. So it took a while to get it set right. Don't get lured with the promise of discounts. Your mother told you this. There is no such thing as a free lunch. Everything has a catch. We know that, but our kids and grandkids may not. I'm going to give you a general recommendation. Stay away from all coupon websites. All of them. Coupon.com, couponcabin.com, whatever. The website add-ons where you put on a bar on your browser that helps you find coupons. Stay away from them. They are aggregators of information. That means they scan the internet for coupons and put them on their website. They don't verify the information is accurate. Anybody can post a link to a coupon on those sites. Anybody. Crowdsourcing at its worst. Most of the time, people don't rate these coupons. You click on it, maybe you'll save $5 at Barnes & Noble, or $5 at Bed Bath & Beyond, and it'll cost you $100 to get your computer cleaned up. I don't see where that's a good value. Yes, we're all trying to save a buck. I know that. I'm on a fixed budget too. Don't do it. If you want to take advantage, use the manufacturer's website. Go to Tide.com and you'll find coupons there. Go to Jewel.com and you'll find coupons there. Go to the apps for those manufacturers and stores. You'll find coupons there. Okay? Jewel has got an app that as you walk through the store and you say detergent, it'll tell you that Tide is on sale and has a coupon. Okay? Don't click on these sites. You're not going to save anything. It's going to cost you in the long run. John?
The computers in the computer lab are protected. So if you want to download coupons, come into the computer lab.
Again, I wouldn't suggest that because the aggregators themselves, you don't know where they're coming from. When you do that search right now,
Yeah, but we reset the computer every night.
I understand, but when you go to coupon.com, you're getting it real time. You're getting the information now. Yes, the computers are reset every night, so if it would not save any information previously. But if you go to coupon.com right now, you're getting that information real time. So anything you did last night or when you powered up the machine is brand new. I understand exactly what you're saying. John's talking about the ability to protect your system image. So when you turn your computer on, nothing has changed from yesterday because the computer has been frozen. Can't do any updates, can't do hardly anything. Anything it does is locked in place. That's a little extreme for a home system, but in business, or you go to most of these hotels, the business centers and those are all working off of images. Okay, last thing, we're almost done. If you think you've been scammed, or you get that pop-up that says your system's been locked, turn it off immediately. Do you know how to turn your system off immediately? Many people don't. They'll go to the start button and click shut down. That's not the way to do it. If you have a tower, one of the ways to do it is to pull the plug. Not a nice way to do it, the computer won't be happy, but it shuts down immediately. The other thing you can do is press and hold, this works for both laptops and towers. Press and hold in the power button. Hold it in until the system turns off completely. You'll hear some clicks. Then try to start it again. If the problem goes away, you're still probably infected, but at least you can use it. If it's locked, it's locked. Nothing you can do about it. For some laptops, that may not be enough to just hold the power button. You may have to pop the battery out of the back. That is a problem for some newer laptops that have batteries you can't get to. So you have to hope that holding that power button in will shut down and clear all of the settings stored in that machine. If not, bring it into the lab, call me, and we might have ways to get around it. It's pretty unusual, but I've seen it before. If you gave the person your credit card information, call the credit card company immediately after you finish calling the police. I'm serious. The Huntley Police is very aware of situations like this. They can't tell you much about what to do about it, but all they can say is, well, you should call your credit card company. They'll make a report. They'll ask you some information, but they really can't do much about it. They're not the FBI. So call your credit card company. Tell them you think you've been scammed. They know exactly what to do. And when you call them and ask for the fraud department, they're very quick on answering. And just like me with my American Express card, they canceled it immediately. They said, okay, we're going to question any online purchases you may do in the future on that credit card number. Until your new card arrives, we will continue to question it. After that point, we will cancel any charges made against that card, the old card number. Make sure you change any of your automatic provisioning to the new number. So if like you have your Dunkin' Donuts account set to your American Express card, I'd have to change that. And I do, believe it or not. If you sent money to these people, it's gone. It's gone. I know of a lady that sent thousands of dollars in Walmart gift cards to a scammer. The reason it stopped happening is the person at the service desk one time questioned, why are you buying so many of these gift cards? Because she was buying them in amounts that they couldn't authorize at the register. And the lady said, well, I'm sending them to these people to help, whatever she was. Oh, you can't, no, you should, no, you can't do that. And the person at the service desk at Walmart helped them identify the issues. But all of that money is gone. I'm sorry, but we can't help you. Credit card protection. If you have the ability to do so with your credit cards, set it up and do it. Make sure you put that contact information in your phone contacts, so when they call you, and they will occasionally call you about a questionable charge. I was at a gas station one day. I'm pumping gas into my truck. It's a big truck. It stopped at $80. That's odd. But okay, it was almost full. A couple of minutes later, I get a call from the credit card company saying, we got a charge here for $80 from a gas station. Did you make that purchase? Yeah. Okay, we're just verifying. It seemed to be unusual because it was the first time I ever used this no name station. So they flagged it, they called me. I love that relationship. If you're gonna go on a trip, call the credit card company, tell them you're going on a trip. Now, chances are they already know you're going on a trip because you purchased your airline tickets on that credit card. They know where the tickets are for. You've paid for that cruise. They know that. But you may just want to call them so they won't start rejecting your credit card sales when you're in Mexico. To paraphrase Smokey the Bear, remember these? Only you can prevent forest fires? No. Only you can prevent your being scammed. So let's do a quick summary before I can let you go and take questions. We learned what a scam is and where it happens. We learned about the common scams that we've talked about, the phone, the pretexting, and the other types. We learned how to prevent robocalls. We learned that even though we take precautions to prevent scams, the responsibility to stop that is ultimately ours. And we made a commitment not to click on those things. Questions? Right in front of you. Oh, okay.
Well, can you, thank you. All right. Can you comment that the antivirus that comes with Windows, Windows
Yeah.
10?
I absolutely can. It works. It works. Seriously. Microsoft did not design it. They bought it.
Oh, okay.
It used to be called Windows Security Essentials. It's an antivirus tool. In Windows 10, they changed the name to Windows Defender. They've got a kind of spyware attached to it. I still use Malwarebytes. That and it works pretty well. I use it on several of my systems because my Norton license at Comcast is big enough to support all the computers that I have at home. But it works relatively well. If you use a free suite like Antivir or some of those other ones, those are okay too, but remember that you have those licenses expire. They're generally only good for 3 to 6 months. Question?
Yeah, if you have a private VPN and you're in a public access zone, does that protect you?
Generally, no. And here's why I'm saying that. Public VPNs or private VPNs generally are only effective if you're going from your computer to another computer. So if you're setting up a tunnel between where you are to some other computer. Now, the only time that would work is if you're using a laptop and you're using it to connect to your home computer and then branching out from there. If you use secure websites, HTTPS, that's as good. That's as good. Ken?
You know, one thing about the ransomware, people, and we always tell people do backups, but you should do a backup and disconnect that drive from your computer. Because if you get one of those encryption ransomwares, it will encrypt everything you can see, which I assume would also, I've never tried it, but it would also be your OneDrive, your Dropbox, or your external hard drive that's plugged into your computer. So if the ransomware encrypts everything, your backup does you no good. So you need to back it up and then disconnect it.
I personally use 2 external backup drives. I leave one plugged in for 6 months, then I take it to my son-in-law's house. Then I put the second one in. That means the most data I could lose at any point in time is 6 months. Not ideal, but I have 2, and prevents me exactly from that problem. Another question?
Here you go, over here.
Go ahead. There you go. Hi.
I'm a big fan of you. I just love that device there. I get all kinds of valuable information. And after under every video, they want me to subscribe. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. Subscribing basically is like liking in Facebook. It means you're going to follow the person that generates those videos. Now, YouTube is a web-based tool. It does nothing to your computer. Okay? It's all stored over on YouTube. So when you log in, it knows all about the accounts that you have subscribed to. And will feature those when you log in. Does that help you?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
One more question.
One more? Anybody else?
One more. Anybody got one more question? Thank you.